Welcome to the channel. In this first video, I just wanted to kind of walk you through a little bit of a long form. I picked up this Magic the Gathering, Universes Beyond, Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle-earth starter kit. Looks like it comes with 2 decks, comes with Plains and Forest, and a Fire and Swamp. And I thought I'd break it open for you guys and kind of show you what's inside. If you've ever been curious and wanted to know what you're getting before you spend your money, figured we could have some fun together. A little intro on me. I'm not necessarily new to Magic the Gathering, but more about getting back into it. That's kind of cool. They give you a little card carrying box. Yeah, nice. I first learned about Magic back in the late 90s in middle school. And I've done a little bit throughout the years of the Magic the Gathering arena online, but I've never really gotten back into the physical cards themselves. So I thought this would be something fun to do. Well, maybe a little new hobby for myself. 2 decks. We'll put this together. There we go. Looks like it comes with player's guide. I'm sure it kind of walks you through some of the rules, how to do it. Introduction to the 5 colors. Obviously, the only color that didn't come with it was blue. However, you also have things like colorless and so a couple other rare ones. So it's not just the 5 colors. Pretty cool artwork. I've been really impressed with this Lord of the Rings artwork. Just the artists on it, show that they really love their work and they love the lore. I've always been a big Lord of the Rings fan. My father introduced it to me when I was a kid, and we've always just enjoyed the books and the movies and everything about it. Well, to start out with, I figure we'll start out with the Forest and Plains. Apparently they got some sort of card here. So I get to punch this into Magic the Gathering Arena. I better do that before I post this video, otherwise you guys will steal it from me. That's kind of cool. So yeah, you can double up. You don't just have to... You're not only paying for the deck, you're also getting all of the cards on your Magic the Arena account. That's pretty awesome. Oh, look at that. Let's post these up here. Aragorn and Arwen wed. Look at that. Vigilance. Whenever Aragorn and Arwen wed enters the battlefield or attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control. You gain 1 life for each other creature you control. Well, that's a pretty powerful card right there. Put that to the side. Let's crack open this guy. Got a pair of scissors here. There we go. There we go. Toss that away. All right. Sorry about that, guys. First video. I'm sure I'm going to make some mistakes, and, I'll get better as time goes on, but just trying to walk you through what I got. First off, we got Frodo, the Determined Hero. Feel free to pause, read all about the cards if you want as I'm going through. I figured just to save time, I'll just kind of flip through them. Ooh, Gandalf the White Rider. Legendary creature. That's probably going to be a pretty good one. Galadriel, Gift Giver. We got Bilbo's Ring. Knight of the Keep. Another Knight of the Keep. Actually, I should probably start organizing duplicates. Oh, another Knight of the Keep. Westfold Rider. I actually have this one on Arena. It's a 3/1, and if you sacrifice it, you can destroy target artifact or enchantment. So it's kind of a, for the mana cost, it's actually a fairly decent card because you can use it both as an attacker and, if necessary, to destroy an artifact or enchantment. Pretty powerful one in my opinion. Eastmark Cavalier. If you happen to be battling goblins, it's a good card. East Farthing Farmer. Protector of Gondor. When Protector of Gondor enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. Not the greatest card. For the amount of mana you got to spend and what it does, a 3/3 with one extra card. I don't know. Might be able to add it into a deck, but I've never really seen use for it. I prefer to use cards that light mana for big punches. Dunedain Blade, or Dunedain, however you pronounce it. Pretty good equipment card. I've rather enjoyed that one on Arena. Second Breakfast. Up to 2 target creatures get +2/+1 until end of turn. Create a food token. Not bad. Pretty good card. Rosy Cotton of South Lane. Banishing Light. When Banishing Light enters, exile it from the battlefield. Good card. Another Banishing Light. I'll keep that together. Landroval Horizon Witness. Legendary Bird. Ooh, here we go. A little bit from the movies. You cannot pass. Destroy target creature that blocked or was blocked by a legendary creature this turn. Oh, it has to be a legendary creature. If it wasn't for that legendary thing, I'd say this is a pretty powerful card for a 1 plains mana, but yeah, good against a legendary though. Mushroom Watchdogs. Seems like a pretty good card. Another Mushroom Watchdogs. I'll keep the groups together. Wos, I'm guessing. Pathfinder. Human Shaman. Really good for if you need to get some mana out there. It's both a creature and tap it for extra mana. Really good cards. Bag End Porter. Bag End Porter attacks. It gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of legendary creatures you control. Well, if you're building a legendary deck, that's going to be a pretty powerful card. It's already a 4/4, so it could just escalate from there. Oh, I give you another one of those too. Generous Ent. When Generous Ent enters the battlefield, create a food token. I mean, 5/7, pretty strong card. Got to get 6 mana out there to cast it, but yeah. There we go. Many Partings. Oh, got a couple of those. Keep the groups together. Galadrim Bow. When Galadrim Bow enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control, untap that creature. Equipped creature gets +1/+2 and has reach. Pretty good card. Meriotic Brandy Buck. Halfling Citizen. Legendary creature. When 1 or more halflings you control attack a player, create a food token. Pretty good card for a halfling deck if you're building one. Peregrine Took. Another legendary creature. If 1 or more tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus an additional food token are created instead. If you're creating token creatures, this is the card you want. There's a lot that you could add this to. There's some spider decks I know of that'll spam cards, or there's the landfall beetles that will spam spawning creatures. You add this to it, I mean, you're building an army that you're just going to run over people. That's a very powerful card right there. Good one to keep. Stew the Connies. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. Create a food token. Seems like there's a big theme on these of creating a food token. So, I mean, food tokens are great for adding life. Certain cards add extra features with the food tokens. So, yeah, I mean, for a starter deck, they're giving you some pretty powerful cards. Whether you want to use it just in the Lord of the Rings or surplus it in another deck. I'm pretty impressed. I paid $20 for the starter deck. Based on what I'm getting here, well worth the money. Well worth the money. All right. Better Burr Bree Innkeeper. At the beginning of your end step, if you don't control a food, create a food. Another food thing. All right, now we're getting into some lands. Shire Terrace. Sacrifice, library, put a basic land card. Yeah. I mean, just good supplemental stuff if you don't need the specific color. You just want a random mana. Got a couple of these. We got Grey Pelt Refuge. Move some stuff out of the way here. Grey Pelt Refuge enters the battlefield tapped. When Grey Pelt Refuge enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life. Tap for either a forest or a plain. These cards are great if you're doing a split deck, between like forest and plain. However, it does slow you down for getting cards onto the field because you have to enter it in tapped. So you got to be a little strategic with it. But, definitely good and powerful cards right here. Basic forest mana. They give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 basic forest manas, if I could talk. And plains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 plains as well. And then they give you 2 food tokens. Based on the amount of cards that produce food tokens, you need quite a few more than what they give you. But, it's kind of cool artwork. Definitely in the Lord of the Rings style. And then finally, what is this? I think it's just more rules on your turn. Yep. Just tells you more rules of the game and kind of shows you blocking versus attacking. So, yeah. That was deck number 1. Let me go ahead and organize this real quick. Get this out of the way. I'm going to keep green with green for now. Put all the green cards together. There we go. Got this pile of singles. We'll see if I edit this out. Okay, that's a split. What are we doing here? Green, green, green. Stick that with the other greens. Plains, 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 plains. Stick that with the other plains all over here. Banishing Light, that's a plains. Plains. Oh, plains mana. Bilbo's Ring. See, this is what I was talking about with colors. This is it's just a gray. It has no color. But yeah, you just got to pay 3 mana of any to utilize Bilbo's Ring. Let's go ahead and put that with the food tokens. Another forest. 2 plains. Oop, and a forest. And yeah, basically the only double split ones they give you are these 3 right here. Where you have to utilize both forest and plains in order to play the deck. Well, I guess you don't have to with the mana, but you have to with this guy. All right, and moving on, we have our other deck, which gives you Sauron the Lidless Eye, legendary creature, Avatar Horror. When Sauron the Lidless Eye enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature and opponent controls until end of turn. Untap it. It gains haste until end of turn. Good to steal a powerful creature. You probably want to save this card for when somebody casts like, I don't know, a 12/12 dinosaur, and you're like, well, I'll take that and hit you with your own dinosaur. And then it has an extra tapping ability for 3 mana, 1 fire, 1 swamp. Creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. Each opponent loses 2 life. That's a very powerful tap ability, especially if you're using a spawning deck. You're just getting creature after creature after creature. Goblins is a good way to do that on the fire side. Those beetles is a good way to do it on the forest. There are some pretty good human spawning cards on plain side. It all depends on what kind of player you are. I happen to gravitate towards spawning creatures, but that's just my play style. I think it's kind of fun. All right, so there's your Sauron. I'll grab the scissors again. We'll open this secondary pack up. I don't know if I could get underneath it. There we go. There we go. Get that out of the way. In the back, we have that attacking rules, so I'll just get rid of that. And we'll kind of walk through what we got here. We have Golem, Scheming Guide, legendary creature. When Golem Scheming Guide attacks, look at the top 2 cards of your library, put them back in any order, then choose land or non-land. An opponent guesses whether the top card of your library is the chosen kind. Reveal that card. If they guessed right, remove Golem from combat. Otherwise, you draw a card and Golem can't be blocked this turn. Kind of gives you got to have some strategy, 50-50 guessing. Could be a pretty good card. All right, that'll be black. Ooh, Witch King, Bringer of Ruin. Legendary creature, Wraith Noble. Flying, when Witch King, Bringer of Ruin attacks, defending player sacrifices a creature with the least power among creatures they control. Yeah, pretty powerful card. Not the greatest defense with a 5/3, but because it's flying, it's still a really good card. Fires of Mount Doom. Ooh, what is this? Legendary enchantment. When Fires of Mount Doom enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to target creature an opponent controls. Destroy all equipment attached to that creature. That's, whew. I don't see too many people doing equipment attaches these days, but every once in a while you run into them. So a good card for destroying equipment. And then it has an extra tap ability. Exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. When you play a card this way, Fires of Mount Doom deals 2 damage to each player. If you got a big stack of mana, this is a very powerful card. You can just start doling out some damage and destroying some stuff. The Balrog, Flame of Udin. Legendary creature, Avatar Demon, Trample. When a legendary creature an opponent controls dies, put the Balrog, Flame of Udin on the bottom of its owner's library. Well, if you're able to play some cards that shuffle your deck, you might be able to get it back in. Yeah. Strong 7/7. Very powerful card. Goblin Assailant. Creature Goblin. The fighting waxed furious on the fields of the Pelennor, and the din of arms rose upon high, with the crying of men and the neighing of horses. But the haste of Mordor were inherited, and filled with a new fury, they came yelling to the onset. 2/2 Goblin. Not that great of a card. I mean, there's some other goblin cards you can play with this, but overall, as far as goblins go, not the strongest. 2/2 with a 2 mana cost. Interesting. Give you a couple of those. Oh, three of those. Easterling Vanguard. When Easterling Vanguard dies, amass orcs 1. So, amassing orcs, you can get a really single powerful card quick. I actually prefer goblins because you can throw out many creatures for blocking or attacking. But with amass orcs, a lot of these cards in the Lord of the Rings decks will amass orcs to where a single orc army played as a single orc creature can go from a 1/1 to a 10-10 in the span of 4 or 5 turns, depending on what kind of card you play. So a really good one if you're trying to build a single, very powerful orc army. However, based on other swamp cards out there, I actually think it's kind of a weakness because it's very easy to like destroy creature and just completely wipe out the orc army with a single card. Easterling Vanguards, 2 of those. Feed the Swarm, destroy target creature or enchantment. An opponent controls, you lose life equal to that permanent's mana value. So, like, for instance, I was just talking about the Orc Army. The Orc Army, amassing orcs, does not have a mana value. So you could just play Feed the Swarm, destroy somebody's entire Orc Army that, you know, they built up to a 10-10 by just playing this card, which costs 2 mana. One of the big weaknesses to amassing orcs, unfortunately. Feed the Swarm, they give you 2 of those. All right. Dunland Creebane. Creature Bird Horror, 1/1. When Dunland Creedbane enters the battlefield, amass orcs 2. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on any army you control. It's also an orc. If you don't control an army, create a 0/0 black orc army creature token first. So this is one of those where if you already have an orc army, this is powerful. This can very quickly just bolster your amassing of orcs. Looks like they give you 2 of those. Mordor Trebuchet, artifact creature wall defender. When you attack with 1 or more goblins and or orcs, create a 2/1 colorless construct artifact creature token with flying, name Ballistic Boulder, that's tapped and attacking. Sacrifice that token at the end of combat. This is a very powerful card, especially if you are amassing a bunch of goblins and orcs. Yeah, I have a feeling I'm going to be adding this into my decks. Mordor Trebuchet, I like that one. Starling Warg. Creature Wolf, 3/4, Menace. Nice thing about Menace, you know, you got to have 2 creatures block this single one in order to be blocked at all. As long as you control a goblin or orc, Snarling Warg gets +1/+0. Okay, so it's a 4/4. Costs 4 mana to cost. Could be a nice addition. I don't think I would. A lot of the cards I do, I prefer to just go goblin. But, yeah. Shalob's Ambush. Target creature gets +1/+2 and gains Death Touch until end of turn. Death Touch, always a good one. Take out something far bigger than you. Nasty End. Ooh, look at that. Blade to the throat. As an additional cost of this spell, sacrifice a creature. So you got to sacrifice one of your own. Draw 2 cards. If the sacrificed creature was legendary, draw 3 cards instead. You know, it's hard to sacrifice a legendary sometimes, but, you know, desperation calls for desperate needs. Gothmog Morgul Lieutenant. When Gothmog Morgul Lieutenant enters the battlefield, amass orcs 1. Create tokens you control. Creature tokens you control have Death Touch. Another very powerful boost card. If you're creating a bunch of creature token goblins and you throw this card on the field, suddenly those 1/1s all have Death Touch, and anybody who tries to block them is getting wiped out. Really good card right there. Versius Fellbeast. Excuse me, I'm not the greatest with Lord of the Rings names. When the Fellbeast enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a creature. Yeah, that's pretty powerful. Create a food token for each creature sacrificed this way. Swarming of Moria. Ooh, here we go. Sorcery card. Create a treasure token. It's an artifact. Sacrifice this, add 1 mana of any color. Amass orcs 2. Put 2 +1 counters. Yeah. All right, an amassing orcs card. Normally amassing orcs, you'll tend to find more on the swamp side than the fire, but Swarming of Moria, yeah. Amass some orcs pretty quickly. I give you one of those. Olog High Crusher. Trample. Olog High Crusher can't block unless you control a goblin or orc. Okay, well, it's a troll soldier. Seems like a pretty average card for a 4-mana, 4/4, but could be pretty good. I give you 2 of those. An Oliphant. Creature elephant. Whenever Oliphant attacks, another target creature you control gets +2/+0 and gains trample until end of turn. Mountain cycling. Discard this card. Search your library for a mountain card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Seems like kind of a waste for a 6-mana, 6/4 power. I probably would never use it for mountain cycling, but I guess they give it to you. Cast into the Fire. Choose 1. Cast into the Fire deals 1 damage to each of up to 2 target creatures. Exile target artifact. I mean, exiling the target artifact, I could see using 1 damage to each of 2 target creatures. I guess if somebody's doing some lightning plays where you're trying to get rid of some very weak cards pretty quick, it might be good, but I'd say this is more of the artifact card, destroying. Fire of Orthane. Destroy target artifact or land. Creatures without flying can't block. Kind of spendy for what it does. Goblin Fire Leaper. Goblin Warrior. Has an extra tap ability. Goblin Fire Leaper gets +1/+0 until end of turn. When Goblin Fire Leaper dies, it deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. There's a better card out there than this. I mean, this isn't bad, but there's a Goblin Fireblade Charger that is only a 1-mana to cast and is a 1/1 and basically does the same thing. This one just adds the extra tapping ability, which really isn't that great. It might come in handy in certain rare instances, but not the best. Grishnak Brash Instigator. All right, legendary creature, Goblin Soldier. When the Brash Instigator enters the battlefield, amass orcs 2. When you do, until end of turn, gain control of target non-legendary creature an opponent controls with power less than or equal to the amassed army's power. So if you already have some orcs on the field and you add this to it and they have a powerful card they're using as a shield against your orcs, you can steal it and do some major damage real quick. Yeah, this is a pretty good card. Sad that it's only a 1/1, but with everything else it's able to do, I understand why. Foray of Orcs. Mass 2 orcs. When you do, Foray of Orcs deals X damage to target creature an opponent controls, where X is the amassed army's power. Yeah, if you already have an 8/8 orc army, you throw this, it becomes a 10/10, and then you could do 10 damage to the player. You could do 10 damage to a creature, planeswalker, whatever you want. Very powerful card. I'll give you 2 of those. Nice. Urukai Captain. Interesting. Legendary Orc Soldier. Menace. If 1 or more +1/+1 counters would be put on an army goblin or orc you control, that many +1/+1 counters are put on it instead. Wow. You play this card, which 1 swamp, 1 fire, that's very cheap to play for such a powerful legendary creature. And then you start playing all those amass orc cards. I mean, this orc captain's going to become super powerful super quick. Wow. Yeah, you can just elevate it. Put that back over there. Olguk of the White Hand. Legendary creature, Orc Soldier. When another creature you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on the White Hand. If that creature was a goblin or orc, put 2 +1/+1 counters instead. Wow, that is really good. That is a card I would play often. especially with spamming goblins, because this guy, you can spam the goblins, get a bunch of them out there, and then this guy's your powerhouse. You put him out there for every goblin that dies, he just becomes more and more powerful. A little spendy at 4 mana, but there are ways to get it out there. And yeah, assuming you're not playing somebody who's just doing haste attacks and trying to run down your life quick, this is a powerful card. The Mind Stone. Looks like you add some mana. Nothing special there. Evolving Winds, a mana thing, and then you can sacrifice it, find whatever mana you need. Nothing big there. Give you 2, 3, 4 Evolving Winds. I've seen them utilized. They do okay. Let's see, how many swamps? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Once again, 11. Seems like they like to do 11 of the main. So we'll put that with those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of the mountain fire cards, and 2 more food tokens to add to the other food tokens you had. But yeah, so that's it. They give you some pretty powerful and beautiful artwork cards. Me, I gravitate more towards the swamp and the fire deck than I do the forest and the plains. But, you know, it's always fun to play with different other ones. I hope you liked the video. For the next video, I'm going to open what you've been seeing in the background, this Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth draft boosters. I kind of looked up online, and from what I researched, the draft boosters are more for if you're getting into the gameplay and less of getting into, you know, the money side of it, selling certain cards and whatnot. And then it also came with this Realms and Relics box topper, so we'll open that up in the next video. But yeah, my goal is to do long form for some of these starter decks and short form for more of the booster packs. I'll just do somewhere between 1 and 3 packs a day for the booster packs. Kind of have to play around with that, see what works best. But yeah, another reason I picked the draft boosters, not only is it more for gameplay, but I just thought the artwork on this book was amazing. You know, you got the whole Towers of Gondor and walls. You got the amassing armies. The other box sets, you know, they got a Balrog on it, which is kind of cool. But yeah, the art on this, I'm truly in awe of people stepping up and doing some beautiful artwork for this set that came out. I'm a little late to the game on it, but you know, life gets in the way, and you know, better late than never. So I hope you liked the video. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and hope you have a great day.